Tonight's lesson is on multiplying in scientific notation. I'm hopeful by the end of this lesson you're going to be very comfortable multiplying two numbers when they're written in scientific notation. We're going to look at examples such as this tonight. We're going to be given a number in scientific notation such as 2 times 10 to the third, another number written in scientific notation, 4 times 10 to the sixth. We're going to go ahead and multiply those, and then we're going to figure out what our answer is going to look like. So those are the type of examples we're going to handle tonight. Let's first recall what we do when we multiply exponents that have the same base. 10 to the third times 10 to the fourth. What does that become? Well, hopefully you remember when we multiply with the same base from our exponent unit, we remember we keep the base. And what do we do to those exponents? When we're multiplying, we add the exponents. So 10 to the third times 10 to the fourth becomes 10 to the 3 plus 4, or 10 to the seventh. You can think of that. Here I have 3 factors of 10. Here I have 4 factors of 10. So I now have a total of 7 factors of 10. I'd like to look at one other example. When we were working on our exponent unit, sometimes we had coefficients, like we may have had 2y to the third times 3y to the fourth. And what we would do, we would take a look here. We'd say, okay, well, those don't have the same base. Those are just coefficients. So we do 2 times 3, and we group those together. And then we would go ahead and we would group our factors that have the same base together. So we would do y to the third times y to the fourth. Hopefully you remember this from our exponent unit. Then we'd say 2 times 3 is 6. Y to the third times y to the fourth. I keep my base of y. Then I add my exponents, 3 plus 4. And I get 6y to the seventh. That's just a quick review from our exponent unit, how we handled multiplying exponents with the same base. Now let's go ahead and apply this to scientific notation. Let's say we want to multiply these numbers. Let's say we want to multiply 2 times 10 to the fourth times 3 times 10 to the third. We want to take our numbers in scientific notation and go ahead and multiply them together. First step, you're just going to want to group the first 2 factors together. Very similar to how we grouped our coefficients together back in the exponent unit. So our first factors in each are a 2 and a 3. So we group 2 times 3 and that becomes 6. Once we group the 2 and 3 together, now we're going to need to group the factors that involve a base of 10 together. So we have 2 times 3 is 6, and then we're going to regroup and do 10 to the fourth times 10 to the third. So in our second step, group the powers of 10 together. 10 to the fourth times 10 to the third, what does that become? Keep in mind they have the same base. We simply keep the base and add the exponent. So that becomes 10 to the seventh. What's our last step? To go ahead and rewrite this as a simplified expression. Our first factor is now our 6. Our second factor in our scientific notation is now 10 to the 7th power. So hopefully that you're able to just take what we learned in the exponent unit and apply it now to scientific notation. It shouldn't feel brand new to you. It should feel like, oh, okay, I've already learned about this and now I'm going to apply it in a new situation. Now it's going to be your turn. You're going to multiply the following expressions. But remember our 3 steps. Group the first factors together. Group the powers of 10 together, and then rewrite the simplified expression. These are the 3 problems I'd like you to go ahead and try on your own, so please pause the video for a moment, try these problems, and come on back. All right, hopefully you pause the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group my first 2 factors together. My first factors are the 4 and the 2. I'm going to go ahead and group those together, 4 times 2. Still scientific notation, I don't lose the time sign. Then I'm going to group my 10 to the 7th and my 10 to the 4th together. I'm going to multiply those together. 2 times 4 is, I can handle that, that's 8, times 10 to the 7th times 10 to the 4th. I keep my base of 10. I add my exponents because I'm multiplying. What's 7 plus 4? I now have 11 factors of 10. So that's 8 times 10 to the 11th. Let's take a look at that second example. In our second example, again, we'll group our first factors together. Don't worry that there's decimals involved. Don't let it worry you. Still the same process. 2.1 times 2.5. I keep this multiplication sign. Don't lose it. It's still scientific notation. Then I'm going to go ahead and group my tens together. 10 to the second times 10 to the third. Hopefully you have a calculator. I don't. So I need to go ahead and do long multiplication here. I'm going to write it up here. 2.1 times 2.5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down a 0 as a placeholder. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add those together. That's a 5. 0 and 2 is 2. 4 and 1 is 5. Now I just have to say to myself, okay, I need to move that decimal point over 2 places. And then I know I'm going to get 5.25 times 10 to the, what do? I keep my base and I add my exponents, 2 plus 3. So it's 5.25 times 10 to the 5th. Let's try that last one. In the last example, 3.2 times 1, I'm going to group those together. Still being multiplied by 10 to something. 10 to the negative 3 times 10 to the 5th. I'm going to go ahead and group those together. This one I can handle without a calculator. 1 is our multiplicative identity. Any number times 1 just gives you that number back. So that's 3.2 times, keep my base. I'm multiplying. I'm going to add my exponents. My exponents are negative 3 plus 5. So it's 3.2 times, hopefully you know negative 3 plus 5 is a positive 2. So it's 3.2 times 10 to the second. All of those answers are written in scientific notation. It's perfect. It's just what we needed to come up with. Now I'd like you to take a moment, pause the video, and try this problem. I'd like you to try to multiply these two numbers in scientific notation together. Okay, hopefully you pause the video. Now let's talk about this one. Okay, for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and group my first factors together, 3 times 5. Times, I'm going to group my second factors together, 10 to the 6 times 10 to the second. 3 times 5 is 15. Times 10 to the 6 times 10 to the second is 10 to the 6 plus 2. So that becomes 15 times 10 to the 8th. Now here's my question for you. Is this problem all set? Can we move on to the next? I want you to think about that. I want you to look closely at your answer. Is your answer written in scientific notation? If it's not, we're going to need to do a rewrite so that it is in scientific notation. So if you look at that answer, 15 times 10 to the 8th, hopefully you're shouting, no, not scientific notation. And it's not, because that first factor is not between 1 and 10. 15 is larger than 10, not working for scientific notation. So I need to take that decimal point, which right now appears at the end of the 15, and I need to rewrite it so that I have a number that falls between 1 and 10. Well, 1.5 falls between 1 and 10. Keep in mind, if I have to move my decimal point one place to the left to do my rewrite, remember LA, Language Arts, Los Angeles, left add. So if I'm going to the left, I need to add. So here I just do 8 plus 1, and it becomes 1.5 times 10 to the 9th. Hopefully you're getting more and more comfortable with doing those rewrites. One last problem for you to try. This is from the New York State 2013 state exam. They released certain test questions at the end of each school year that we're able to use in our classrooms. So I'd like you to use this released test question to see how they might ask this on the state test. Keep in mind, this is from book 1, no calculators allowed, so give it a try without a calculator. Pause the video, try it out, come on back. Okay, hopefully you paused the video. The first thing I would do is I'd say, okay, I'm multiplying two numbers in scientific notation. I'm going to go ahead and group those first factors, 2.4 times 4.5 times, then I'm going to group my second factors, 10 to the 4th times 10 to the 3rd. I'm not allowed a calculator on the book 1 of the state exam, so I'm going to just have to go ahead and long multiply these. So I'm going to do 2.4 times 4.5. 5 times 4 is 20, put down a 0, carry a 2. 5 times 2 is 10, and 2 is 12. Put down a 0 as a placeholder. 4 times 4 is 16, put down a 6, carry a 1. 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 is 9. And then you go ahead and add those up. 0, 2, and 6 is 8. 9 and 1 is 10. And I say, okay, I have to move my decimal point over 2 places. So I know I get 10.80. We could just write that as 10.8 if we choose. So that's 10.8 times 10 to the, keep the base, add the exponents because we're multiplying 4 plus 3. So that's 10.8 times 10 to the 7th. Okay, some of you may have accidentally circled letter A. And that's why New York State puts letter A on here, because they want to see how many students really look at that final answer and notice that that's not yet in scientific notation. That decimal point is after the 0, not after the 1. 10.8 is bigger than 10, not working, so I need to do 1.08 to get a factor between 1 and 10 times 10 to some power. Again, I just look here, I say, okay, how am I moving my decimal point? I'm going to the left, left add, I moved it 1 place, so I'm just going to add 1 on. So it's 1.08 times 10 to the 8th power. It's actually letter B. Hopefully you worked that out. Let's take a look at tonight's focus question. You're going to do a nice write-up, bring it to class tomorrow. What are the steps to multiplying numbers in scientific notation? If you need to look back in the video to remind yourself, go ahead and do that. Write this up in your own words, bring it to class tomorrow. Have a good night. Thanks.